Hi, I'm Alice and this is my office. These penguins, all dressed up in their best suits, are my work colleagues. I sometimes have important meetings with leopard seals and humpback whales, and lots of other amazing creatures. Sometimes it's pretty crazy, or even a little cold. I'm really, really lucky to work as a wildlife guide down in Antarctica. In this video, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my job as a wildlife guide and what it's like to work down in the wildest, coldest, most incredible place on Earth. I'm going to tell you how I ended up there as a marine biologist, getting to teach people about animals all day and be paid for it. And then I'm going to share some of my favourite facts about Antarctic animals. I know a lot of people at the moment are stuck at home, so can't get out on adventures, can't go to school and learn lots of awesome stuff. And so I'm hoping this will be a way to maybe take you on a little journey, have a little bit of an adventure from home, and most importantly, learn a bit more about why our planet is just so awesome. I grew up a long way from the ocean in a very small country town, so how did I end up in Antarctica in the first place? I was always a bit obsessed with dolphins, but I never imagined that I could grow up to be a marine biologist working on a ship. So after high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do, so I just started travelling, and I ended up in a lot of random places, and one of them was a small town in Greece where I volunteered on a sea turtle project. And while I was there, I started learning about the huge impacts that we were having on these amazing animals, about how the plastic bottle I was drinking out of could have been killing turtles, the tuna I was eating could have been killing turtles, about how all these little decisions I made in my life every day could have these direct impacts on these wild animals. So I went back to university and I started studying conservation biology in Sydney and then later marine biology in Tasmania. Around this time I really wanted to learn more about how I personally could help animals, so I went and joined Australian Seabird Rescue. I did a course with them and learned how to rescue birds that had been impacted by people. At the time I was doing a lot of scuba diving and a lot of beach cleaning, and we just kept seeing seagulls and pelicans tangled in trash and fishing gear. So it was really amazing to do this course and learn how I could help them, and then over the years go out and do lots of pelican wrangling and try and help a lot of these birds. Later, while working in Coral Bay as a snorkel guide, I was taking people out to swim with manta rays, and I met a bunch of people who worked on these ships, and they took people to these incredible places, to the Arctic, to the Antarctic. And talking to them, I thought, these people must be a lot braver than me. Wow, I can't even imagine being able to do that job. How amazing! But slowly I talked to them more, I got to know them more, and I realised that maybe this is something I could do. And before I knew it, I was down on a ship, crossing the wild Drake Passage and on my way to Antarctica for the first time. While I'm working down in Antarctica, my job involves taking people down there to show them around and to teach them about this continent. So we sometimes do landings where we go ashore, so my team and I will go in and set up trails with flags to make sure people stay in certain areas so we don't disturb the wildlife. Sometimes the animals are really interested in what we're doing. At other times we do zodiac cruises, so I get to drive a small boat around and just look for animals, and we just sit there. The best kind of encounter is the ones where we can just turn the engine off and just watch the animals around us, the seals, the whales, the penguins. We also get to do lectures on board, which is almost as amazing as getting to see the wildlife, because it's a chance to get to communicate to people how cool these animals are and educate them about the animals, but also our impact there and how we can all make a difference. So now I'd like to share some of my favourite facts with you and hopefully make you fall in love with Antarctica a little bit too. First of all, penguins! So there's about 17 different types of penguins, depending who you ask. And they're only found in the southern hemisphere, but there's lots of different types. We even have one in Australia, the little blue penguin or the fairy penguin. These are rockhopper penguins from the Falkland Islands or Magellanic penguins. There's king penguins from South Georgia. obviously penguins can't fly, but their wings have evolved to be more like flippers. They're very rigid, and this means they can swim really fast under the water. This is the Gentoo penguin. He's the fastest. He can go up to 35 kilometers an hour. An amazing thing about how fast they swim underwater is that sometimes they do this behavior called porpoising. Porpoising because they look like a dolphin or a porpoise just leaping out of the water. And when they do this porpoising, when they jump out, basically their feathers get coated in tiny, tiny little bubbles, and this gives them like a little bubble boost where it helps them speed up through the water. It makes them more slippery. So that's a pretty incredible adaptation that the penguins have, to be able to fly and then soar through the air. Do you know what a penguin's favourite food is? Iceberg lettuce. Just kidding, it's iceburgers. No, really, it's krill! So penguins love krill, everything loves krill. So that's the second animal we're going to talk about today. Krill is hugely important in Antarctica. It's the base of everything. Everything eats krill and everything depends on krill, even though they're pretty small. So they're about the size of your thumb, pretty tiny, but hugely important, and there are a lot of them. They swim in these massive swarms of hundreds of thousands of krill all swimming together. In fact, they're probably one of the most abundant animals on the whole planet. There's probably around 300 or 400 trillion individuals. That's a 3 with 14 zeros afterwards. That's how many krill are swimming around in the ocean. That's a guess. We can't count them. We don't know. Could be way more than that. So sea ice is really important for them. Another animal that sea ice is really important for is seals, because a lot of these Antarctic seals, they give birth on the sea ice. There are a few different kinds of seals we commonly see in Antarctica. These southern elephant seals are just young right now, but when they grow up, they can be absolutely huge. The males can be over 4 tons. That is the same as 2 4-wheel drives. Absolutely massive. Did you know that some seals actually sing? So one day I was sitting on some ice with a little Weddell seal, which are probably my favourite seal. They're very cute, very chubby, tiny little face. And the Weddell seal was lying there having a nap, and then it just opened its eye, kind of looked at me, went back to sleep, and then just started singing. Another animal that you might know that's famous for its song is the humpback whale. We are so lucky here to have these cruising past our coastline, starting right now. So the humpback whale heads down to Antarctica every year to feed. So they're not really singing much down there because they are too busy just feeding all the time, munching away on all that krill. The way that they feed is pretty incredible. So they have a huge mouth with grooves along their throat so it can expand. And so they'll scoop up a big mouthful of water and krill, and then they use their tongue to push all that water out of their mouth and then filter it through special plates called baleen, which are made of keratin, just like our fingernails and our hair. When they do that big scoop, it's called lunge feeding because they lunge forward with their mouths open to grab the krill. They can actually hold over 18,000 litres of water in their mouth. That's about the same as 60 bathtubs. Another really cool thing about the way they feed is they often work cooperatively. They work as a team. They do a thing called bubble netting where they'll swim around in kind of a spiral, blowing bubbles to herd all the krill or the small fish in tighter so that they can lunge up and grab them all at once. So, those are some of my favourite facts about some of the incredible animals that I'm lucky enough to hang out with in Antarctica. I hope this has made you feel a little bit like you've got to go on a bit of an adventure outside your house and hopefully taught you something amazing. If you have any questions, you want to know anything else, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'll put my contact details at the end of this video and you can get in touch by Instagram, by email, whatever you like. I hope this has inspired you to get back outside and get adventuring when we're allowed to. And in the meantime, just learn as many cool things as you can while you're stuck at home.